Good evening, everyone. Keith here. Hoping everybody's enjoying their day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Wanted to talk to everybody tonight about who are ye. And I said ye, not you, not thou, not yourself, but ye. Who are ye? Well, if you're Bible thumpers or know anything about the Bible or old adages, I'm sure many of you have heard, ye are gods. And I've gotten into some discussions lately about various documents, processes, instruments, this and that. And again, people questioning my methods. And I just posted a comment not too long ago. I do things my way. My way, not their way. My way. As in Yahweh. Yahweh. Who are ye? Well, again, we're going to talk about that damn birth certificate and social security card and all that, in explaining what I've got going on here in my process. And people ask me about proof of this and proof of that when I tell them I don't do anything but trade and barter now. They want proof that I don't pay bills. What am I supposed to do? Give you a bill that I don't pay? I can't do that. Am I supposed to show you forms that I've filled out that I don't fill out? I can't do that. I don't do things their way. I don't fill out their forms. I write them notes so that if I don't get a response appropriately and they have contracted, I can send them a bill. If they don't want to pay their bill, I put forth a bond and take them to court. Notes, bills, and bonds. Anything you say can and will be used against you. So use notes, bills, and bonds against them. They want to put forth these notes, bills, and bonds. Use them against them. They're the fiction. Ye are gods. I hear people talking all the time about how these words are spellbinding. They teach you how to spell in school. It's all babble, this and that. And you're right, it is. And if you're that goddamn right, then why don't you learn how to use it against them? When it comes down to the somebody wanting to issue forth a comment that they've seen all kinds of birth cards throughout their 60-year life, and that's all they are is birth cards. They're misconstruing a birth card with a born live record. Then they have nothing to argue because they're not comprehending the words. Every time you see a difference in the words, know that there's a difference. There's a difference between being able to fend for yourself, and a defendant. If you go into these courts believing that you're a defendant, then you're a defendant. By your own imagination, by your own assumption, by the implications of their presumptions that you wish to believe, because you refuse to do your research so that you can step out of her and quit babbling. See, when I talk about doing things my way, I talk about doing them in clarified terms and conditions so that we all comprehend the words being used. It's the only fair way to do anything. Anything at all in life. Whether it be a commercial public construct or private affair construct. You have to have a one-to-one communication between the two parties or multiple parties. And comprehend that, people. If you have multiple parties, it's harder for everybody to comprehend. So you have to work harder at it. So when you're in a courtroom and you got dickhead over here and the clown up on the bench, and you got the galley behind you, and you got the clerk, and you got the bailiff, and when you're somebody like me, you know you got the bailiff and 2, 3, 4 other sheriffs in the room with you, as well as possibly a few outside the door. But all you got to do is clarify the shit. And when it comes down to clarifying shit, again, like I said, everything runs in mathematics. And so when we come down to clarifying the birth certificate, certificate of live birth, the social security count, the driver's license, all that, it all comes down from one origin, and that's yourself. Ye are a God. Ye were created first, before the person. Anything that comes after your calling, that which your mom and dad called you, they were inspired in spirit, spiritual, by a spiritual hand. They were guided to call you a certain thing. That was transferred to paper and now becomes a name. That itself is antecedent to your given calling. The spiritual calling you were given that was inspired, antecedent to the person. Your mom and dad didn't give you a calling thinking about all the different persons you would be administrating in your life later on in the commercial system that were fictions. They should have. They should know about that fictional person so that when they're bringing you up, they can teach you about it, because your public education system is not doing it. It tells you it's not your public education system. It's their public education system. And when you register your kids for their public education system, now you're doing things their way and not maybe the correct way. Certainly not the best way. Certainly not the most cognitive way, because you already know they only teach your children what they want to teach them, and they call it a curriculum, and it's arrived on a basis these days called leave no child behind, meaning that any child that's going to excel is held back because of the ones that don't comprehend at that same level. That's a wrong way to allow our young to learn themselves. We should let those minds expand as much as they want and concentrate on that one thing. And discipline goes out the window, because everybody gets to do what they want to do. And they all get to learn what's important to them in life, not what's important to you, not what's important to your mom and dad. What's important to ye? What's the proper way for ye to do it? See, I'm establishing a record. I'm establishing a record on their record of no such record. See, I don't keep records. And I quit signing any of their documents 4 years ago. Prior to that, I spent 3.5 years of signing purely with UCC 1-308, and then just never went to court. I do things my way for a reason, because their way doesn't work, and it's proven that it doesn't work. It's proven that it takes advantage of me, and it's detrimental to me. And if their system is entirely contractual, that's automatic proof on and for the record that their contracts are detrimental to myself. And now that I'm cognizant of that, and I can point that out, can't nobody rebut it. Get down to learning how to do these things and establish your own record. Whether you wish to do it by your own written record, whether you wish to do it by their written record, or whether you wish to do it the way I do it, just no record at all. Because see, if there's no such record, then they have no evidence either. So then it's word for word, and if the guy that's bringing a charge has no evidence of it, then there is no charge. There is no accusation. And that's how simple it gets. And when you're able to rationally and logically think about this stuff and point that out verbally, these people will run from you. You don't need documentation. When you learn how the Social Security application works and you research it and you research it and you research it and you put a video out on it explaining to others and how it works, you no longer need to do that process yourself. Because anytime confronted by them bastards, I can tell them, well, you can look at your own records and see that the records are incorrect. If you'd like me to state verbally on and for the record, we can do that. Because on and for the record, I'm not a U.S. citizen. I should have marked the other box for nationality, and for the name, first, middle, and last, I should have put my first name grammatically correct as capital K, lowercase e, lowercase I, lowercase t, lowercase h, hyphen, uppercase O, lowercase r, lowercase l, lowercase a, lowercase n, lowercase d, and then I should have left the middle name blank and then filled in the last name with the correct last name. Then in that very last box in the bottom corner after I sign, it says prepared by or whoever, and it says legal representative or what is it? There's a couple different categories that you can mark, as well as another box that says other. And that's the box that I should have marked, and should have marked other and put authorized representative, because that's the language they are used to using. That's the language they use in the Social Security Act in relation to yourself, and the Federal Reserve Act in relation to yourself. When you go get a bank and they say that they want your Social Security number so that they can tie the two accounts together and then clarify through their paperwork that you are the authorized representative in this financial transaction. It's a financial transaction which is governed by the Uniform Commercial Code, and under the Uniform Commercial Code, Section 3-402B, subpart 1, it states that the authorized representative giving the unambiguous authorized signature is not liable for the person named in the instrument. There's your clarification, and I don't need to fill out any of their paperwork to do that. Why? Ye are gods. When you start submitting down to paperwork, you're playing on their level. When you can rise above that and state it verbally, truthfully, knowingly, with experience and wisdom, they will run. I've been confronted many times over the last few years by multiple officers. Many times, 7, 8, 9, 10 officers at once. Ye are gods. Comprehend this. Get rid of the fear and fill this nugget with knowledge. And it all goes right back to the word, like I was saying. I didn't say you. I didn't say people. I didn't say persons. I didn't say thou. I said ye. Get back to the words and comprehend what they all are so that you can use them in the right context. And when you comprehend how to use them in the right context, you don't need to worry about writing them down. They come automatic. It's just like any other habit. When you enjoy it, you practice it. When you practice it, you get good at it. You enjoy it more. The more you enjoy it, the more you practice it. The more you practice it, the more you enjoy it. It's a vicious circle. So anyway, when it comes to all this, all these commercial constructs and contracts and agreements within this commercial system that we use, this financial system. Let me explain financial system. Systems acquisition management. It's a military. It's a military agency that that is run on risk management, insurances, which is one of their systems is the financial system. Financial system. Financial system. Financial stands for debt. So their systems acquisitions management is they're acquisitioning the debts. They're getting you to create debts by giving them information. Quit giving them information. Quit filling out all their damn forms. Learn the information on their forms and rebut it. You don't have to file a single goddamn document in their system. Matter of fact, the whole intent of being private is you keep your documents private. They want to make any accusations that you're involved in their system, they better have damn good proof. Or you better be damn good, willing, able little slave to do it. Quit being a slave. You're enslaving your own children, you know that. By not standing up right now. Right now. People got to get with this. This is a big game board, and they're playing games on it, and it's your fucking board. Genesis 17, verse 1. I am Almighty God. So long as you follow my way, ye shall be blameless. And he gave us the land, air, and water to have dominion of, to be stewards. Steward, S-T-E, house, ward, W-A-R-D, house ward. We're house wards in his house. We are land, air, and water. We are law. Law is spoken. Law is spoken long before it's ever written down. Learn how to speak the truth, and they run. That's all there is to it. But you got to know the truth of the words. So when you read these words, these terms and conditions that are put on words that end up being representative, abundant, you got to take those prefixes and suffixes off to see the root word. Representative. That's a lot of different words in there, or a lot of different connections in that word. Present. Present and present. Even the root word itself is three different variations. I present to you a present at this present time. So you really got to think about the root words. Is it present? Is representative? Is present the root word of representative? I beg to differ. Because I was present. I was present. And now I am present. And when somebody calls out to myself, they have called the Spirit of God Almighty. And that's what you'll get. Truth. Because if I don't hear it, or I'm confused about it, or I don't comprehend it, I'm going to clarify it. I'm going to clarify every detail. That's my way. So when I walk out of jail and they try to tell me I have to sign release papers, and I say, no, I don't want to do that, and they try to convince me that, oh yeah, you got to, otherwise we ain't going to let you go. Well, what about that order from the judge? Should we go back and talk to that judge and clarify this shit? Oh, well, here, we'll just put down refused to sign. And that's the establishment of the record I got going on their record. No such record. Refused to sign. See, when you establish yourself with the corporation, and you want to run out and free yourself from that corporation by filling out all their forms and doing this process and doing this process, you're not freeing yourself. You're digging yourself in deeper. If you want to free yourself from the corporation, then you show a disassociation. You prove that there's a disassociation. Well, Keith, prove to me you don't pay any bills. Kind of funny. Go ask them to prove that I pay any bills. And they'll tell you, nope, we don't have any record. There's your proof. There's your fucking proof, people. So when people want to sit there and say, well, how do you know how to do this? How do you know how to do this? I don't. I've never done it. But I can tell you from my common sense, that's the way it's supposed to be done. By reading the words. By correcting the errors that other people are constantly making because they don't comprehend the words. Because they've been indoctrinated all through school to pledge allegiance to a fucking flag. I remember when I was young, got up every morning before we sat down and ate breakfast. I don't do that anymore. I don't sit down to breakfast and pray. I pray all fucking day. I ask that you people will become aware. I ask that people will become aware and help other people become aware. Help pass this stuff on so that more and more people can become aware of the truth and reality so that they can stand up in it. Instead of standing on the edge of it, wondering which way they're going to fall and hope it's going to be on the truthful side and hope it's not going to hurt. Life kills. It's going to hurt. See, that's one thing that's funny as hell. The people that don't like the people that like me because I tell the truth. And the people that don't like me, they don't like me because I tell the truth. I'm okay with it either way, though. Because see, I've learned through my life, I don't need none of you. I don't. I want you. I want you side by side, living in prosperity and abundance. I don't need you to be ahead of me teaching me. I don't need you behind me learning from me. I need you side by side so we're all doing it together. That's what I want. So when I talk about doing things my way, my way may seem different. And it may throw a lot of people off because a lot of people are caught up in all this financial stuff. And it might tweak your ration. Might tweak your logic. Because for a lot of people, doing things the way I do them ain't going to work. See, I don't have any kids. I don't have any family. My family calls me a lunatic, told me I need to change my last name. I don't have a last name. That was there long before me. It doesn't belong to me. I belong to it. And that brings me to this thing about Moors and all these different Aryan Brotherhood, the people that think they have some kind of nationality. We go back much farther than any nation. And in that retrospect, we're all brothers and sisters. And that's what I want everybody to treat each other like. See, if I was walking down the street and everybody grew their hair long, and let it flow down in front of their face so you couldn't recognize anybody, and therefore without being able to recognize anybody's face, you really wouldn't know what to call them. So would you just treat them all the same? Expecting, hoping, wishing, wanting it to be your brother or sister, and not somebody you fear? Isn't it much better to go on in life realizing who ye are? Who you really are? And then it's not the name. It's not a defendant. It's not a representative. It's not a policy enforcer. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a blue collar. It's not a white collar. It's not Democrat. It's not Republican. It's not Catholic. It's not Jewish. It's not Muslim. It's not Iranian. It's not any kind of nomenclature. That's a noun. You're a verb. You're something in constant motion. Act like it. Every breath you take, make it a creation. Practice it so it becomes habit. That's what these guys do when they go to these high colleges, Yale, Harvard, Mass. They're practicing. They're getting up there and they're making courtroom presentments and practicing it. They've made it a habit. It comes natural to them now. If you're gonna keep filing their stuff, you're never gonna get back to what's natural to you. You're still gonna be consumed in all the lies. Mom used to tell me, you tell one lie and then you gotta tell another lie to cover it up, and then you gotta tell another lie to cover it up. Well, here you are, you're on the opposite end of that because there's so many lies covering everything up, you're afraid to dig out of them, so you just stay in the lies, believing that you got to fill out this form or fill out that form, when all you really got to do is educate yourself on the information about what it's all about so you can rebut it. And you don't have to do it on paper. You can, and many of you will, and many of you should. But if you're cognizant enough and you really put your effort into it, you can get this stuff internalized and just make it natural. It's just habit. It's habit now anytime I'm confronted by some policy enforcer to smile. Hey, how you doing today? Used to be I was, fuck you want. And that was my attitude. Today it's a lot different because I know a lot different. I've gotten rid of all that fear and filled it with so much knowledge, they run from me. They don't want to do business with me anymore. They put a protection order out. Don't come around. It's kind of like posting private property signs on. Gee, now we agree. Now we agree. And see, they have to agree because they know now, after I've established that record, 7.5 years, they know I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to sign their documents. Period. Plain and simple. And they watch me. They watch my page. They watch my videos. How's everybody doing? Hope you're learning just like everybody else. That's all I want to do is educate you. I don't hate you. I have a disliking for you, but I love you. You're my brothers and sisters. All the same. You've been indoctrinated just like everybody else. I got to give you that. You're blameless. But now's the time to step up and leave me alone. And I appreciate that you are. And that's what they'll do with you people if you just step up and learn this stuff. That's all you got to do is learn it and enforce it. And like I said, I enforce it verbally. I don't need to fill out their documentations. I can write them notes and tell them according to your records on the SS5 application that was filled out upon my 18th birthday when the person became deceased. I'd like you to correct your records. Here's the corrections you need to make. So I've done it. So I do it without filling out their paperwork. I write them a notice in affidavit form. Notice to agent, notice to principal. Requirement of clarification of corrections made. In other words, they need to respond to me, letting me know that they made the corrections. And then if they don't, and I check that those corrections haven't been made yet, I send them another notice. Again, requiring notice to principals, notice to agent, response time required, clarification records are corrected. Again, if they don't respond, I give them a third notice, and if they don't respond, then we go into arbitration. And that's another good thing that if you're sending out notices to these people, doing the private administrative process that I'm describing there, to put in a statement of compelled to arbitrate. Compel them to arbitration. That's a step before it goes to a lawsuit, and you can apply your fee schedule through arbitration for having to perform multiple times to their acquiescence. So think about this stuff, people, and realize that every time you fill out one of their forms, you're doing it their way. And that's exactly what they want you to do. It's the only way that system can survive. It's the only way a debt system can survive is having as many members as possible. If you're a member of that system and you have children, you bring them up in that system, you're helping that system survive. If you're part of that system, you're caught in that system, you can't get out of that system, there are still things that you can do to alleviate things. You can learn the accepted for value process to discharge your bills, or discharge your bills. You can learn the 3 tender payments for going to car lots. You can and tendering 3 money orders, or however many money orders it takes to tender the payments within the 90 days and claim the car. Payments made in full. There are ways to do that. There's a letter of credit you can do. I suggest everybody start learning so we can all learn together. Because like I've said before, I can't do this by myself. And there's a lot of us out here doing it, but we need a lot more. Anyway, that's why I do things my way. Everybody wants to follow paths that are already created. Ye are creators. Ye are gods. You have to create your own remedy. And when you get frustrated as much as like I did, and you just don't involve yourself anymore, shows that there's other remedies. You don't have to do it their way. Now, granted, I've got a lot of barter and trading stuff going on where people have a lot of faith in me and they're willing to put me up here for a week while I help educate them on some things and set up this blog talk for constitutional law. There are other things I need to do to help bring a quote income in, and that's why I post the things about the knives. Hopefully if anybody's got any old knives that they don't need or don't want anymore, I'd appreciate anything that I can get to help in that endeavor to refurbish, rebuild, reconstruct old knives, or even get some knife blanks and do my own custom knives. But anyway, yeah, ye are creators. Ye need to create your remedy. I can't do it for you. All I can do is put this information out there. Again, people ask, well, how do you know it works? Or how do you know it works? Because I know many people doing it. And just because it doesn't work for you, or it didn't work for me, or doesn't work for me, or I haven't used it, doesn't mean it doesn't work. There are all these processes, and they're on there for a reason, because they work. Okay? The problem is that nobody really knows how or why they work, because it's never been explained to them. It's only been explained to the bankers, lawyers, you know, the ones writing the damn laws, why you stand back and vote for them. Makes a lot of sense. Anyway, I hope everybody comprehends how much you can create by just doing things your way. Find a different way to do things. You don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's part of the indoctrination, making you feel comfortable doing the same thing over and over again. So quit it and learn how much you can create. Learn how much you can create your younger generation. If you're bringing these children forth and you're tired, you're sick and tired of this system, then I would think that would be a greater motivator to help learn the system yourself, so that you can use the different mechanisms that are veiled to be used. Like I said, the accepted for value. I did a video back in February about homemade postage stamps. You know, I know a lot of people like to send a lot of stuff at Christmas time, you know, just single Christmas cards out to all kinds of relatives and friends. God, can you imagine how much postage you'd save just at Christmas time if you just learned that one process and then taught it to your younger children, and then they pass it on in one generation. In one generation, we'd have people using the postal system a little bit more widely again. Of course, postal system wouldn't enjoy that too much. They're not getting paid for that. Homemade postage stamps, you don't buy them through the post office. You print them up yourself. That's the cost of your postage. Printing your own stamps. Pretty cheap too. Anyway, realize that everything's in the words and how you use them. If you want to use them on a construction of paper, then go ahead and use them. Make sure that they're lined up appropriately. Make sure you're using the right prefixes and suffixes. Make sure that you get yourself a concise English handbook so you can do this properly, and so that when you're presented other paperwork from other people, you can sit there and correct it right in front of them and say, sorry, but I can't accept this. This looks like nothing but babble. You failed for today's class. Here you go. Mark it with a big F, just like a teacher. What are they going to do? Tell you you have to accept their lies when you pointed them out on paper? Can't do it. Can't do it. That's the thing about the Born Live statement. Somebody was complaining, was saying, well, that's a birth card. No, it's not. It's a Born Live statement. Just because it says a birth date and it says sex male and this or that doesn't mean it's a birth card. It's a Born Live statement of the original information given when somebody is born live. It is then transferred onto a birth certificate, and then it becomes a birth card. It cannot possibly be a birth card prior to the birth certificate. Everything is mathematical, people. Everything. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. I hope everybody comprehends ye are gods. Start acting like it. If it weren't for you people, I wouldn't be doing this. God bless. Love you. Have a great night. Peace.